What's up, Wargamers? Welcome back to World of Wargaming. I'm Isaiah. Today we're going to be digging into another game of Rangers of Shadow Deep. We're still playing our way through the Burning Light campaign, so we're going to be moving into the hospital scenario, and we're going to see what happens. Before we do that, if you haven't considered smashing all the buttons or checking out the links in the description, please give that a think over. Otherwise, the Shadow Deep might take over your neighborhood. We don't want that. Let's go take a look at the board, talk about the scenario, and get into this game of Rangers of Shadow Deep. At one time, the hospital of the convent of St. Emilia was famous throughout Larenthia and even Alador for its success in ministering to the sick and wounded. Now, its stones are cracked, its doors broken. As you step inside, you are immediately confronted with a nightmare of gigantic webs that stretch from one side of the room to the other. There are numerous beds, most of them covered in giant web cocoons. You will have to hack your way through the sticky mess, and as you are fully aware, where there are webs, there are spiders. And this, my friends, is the Hospital of St. Emilia's Convent. We've got two doors here and here. These are the only ways into or out of the room for this scenario. There is a ladder in this corner, which is supposed to be a stairwell, but I only have one set of stairs, so a ladder does the same job as stairs. And then we have a staircase in this corner. I'm embarrassed. That's not supposed to be there. Web back in its proper place. In the scenario, because of all the giant webs, the entire board is rough ground, which means half movement. Spiders always have line of sight. In addition to the rough ground, I also have -1 to my fight stat because of trying to swing. Now, there's no penalty for shooting, so hopefully I can pluck these things off the board before they become an issue. That being said, let's get into turn 1, Ranger phase. New to the Shadow Deep, the turn is split into the Ranger phase, the Monster phase, the Companion phase, and the Event phase. During the Ranger phase, you can move your Ranger and then any 2 companions that you would like. You get 2 actions, a move, and then a do something. My Ranger has a movement of 7, so that gets cut in half, so he has a 3.5-inch move, and then he will take a shot at that spider. I roll my shoot stat, they roll their fight stat, high number wins. So I got an 18 plus my shoot stat of 5, so a 23, versus their 14 plus a fight stat of 0, so a 14. I win the roll. We then move to damage. So my total here is a 23 minus their armor of 8 is math 15. And then the rest of that, so that entire 15 would be damage. They only have a health of 4, so that will kill a spider. My friend Tobias will move up the same thing. Now, Tobias only has a movement of 6, so he'll move 3. Now, when I made this board, these boxes are 1 inch, so that helps me to be able to just go 1, 2, 3, and we'll take a shot downrange at this spider. Now, that spider technically had +1. I forgot that when you move and then shoot, there is a penalty. But he would have had a 15 to my 23. I still would have won that fight. But I will remember it when I make this roll. Now, thank you to the viewer that helped me out. He had one of his stat upgrades had been done wrong. His character sheet upgrades had been done wrong the last time he progressed. So he ended up with a modifier that he shouldn't have had. And when I was writing in there, I was like, man, this doesn't sound right. But my brain just didn't click as far as the correct reading of the verbiage. So thank you so much to that viewer. If you see this, I appreciate you, man. I do have that fixed and resolved back to the way it should be. Shoot! So that's a 10, plus a shoot of 3 is a 13, to their 19 because I moved and shot, so miss. What's your name? Samuel will move up and do the same. So to right there, just shy of the line, and he'll take a shot at spider. That is an 11 plus his shoot of 2, I think. I don't think Samuel is as good a shot as Tobias. He is not, so he's got a 13 to their 14 because I moved and shot. We then go to the monster phase, which we only have 1 monster left on the board right now. And it's a very simple 3-step scenario. Are they in combat? Yes, then they swing. If not, then you go to step 2. If they have a missile weapon, they'll use it. If they don't have a missile weapon, they will move. If they have someone an enemy in line of sight, which the spiders always do in this particular scenario. Missile weapon, what they'll do is a double move, so they'll move their full movement, and then they'll move their half their movement. They obviously are not slowed down by their own webs. Spider moves a total of 9 inches, 6 plus 3 again for half movement, and lands right there. Not quite to me, so not too worried about it just yet. We then go to the companions phase. Now at this point, I'm going to show you where everybody's starting out. If anybody does, there will be some points of interest that well, let's go ahead and do our points of interest. Let's start there. So this fellow, this is Batrep, he's going to move over. When he comes into contact, it will investigate. So that is point. I have to make a target number 8 strength check. Batrep has probably no bonuses to strength, but strength is not one of them. So we're looking for a raw 8 here. That is a 2. That is not an 8. Now I can reattempt that as many times as I want. I may reattempt it with somebody a little bit more well equipped to deal with it. We'll go to Sigvald, who's going to move over and check out that one, which is point. It has strength plus 4. It's the same thing. I got to make a roll, and then if I get it, once I get inside of it, there will be a note to check out. That's a 14. Let's see what's in there. We're looking at note 355, so potential spoilers. Tear into it, thousands of tiny spiders skitter out and will attack him and anybody within 2 inches of him, which will be Jules St. Augustine. So the attack is, I think it's it's a +2 attack. So again, we roll contested, always contested. Oh my goodness, they got a 20. So yeah, they're going to do better than me. So that'll be 20 plus -2. No, 22 -2, so that's 20 over his armor of 8 freaking damage from some tiny little skittering spiders. So 8 damage on Sigvald. So Jules, tiny spiders trying to bite Jules. So we got a 10 and a 10. I have a flat 10, they have +2, which is 12. The attack is -2, which puts them at a 10 for their damage. And Jules St. Augustine has an armor of 10, which means 0 damage, and I'm not poisoned. Sigvald, on the other hand, is poisoned. So he is limited to 1 action per round. It can be any action that he could normally take, doesn't have to be movement. Unless he is healed back up to his full starting health, which I do have the healing power to accomplish. I just don't know if I want to dig it all straight into him right away. My actions for my companion phase are pretty basic. Dog is going to start running towards Spider. Desdemona and our new friend that we found locked in the room of the library are going to move up the board. Jules is going to cut over in front of Sigvald and drop a heal on him. So he's going to heal up 5 damage. He's not up to full, but I think 1 more heal would put me to full and get rid of the poison. So I may do that because I have the new friend who also has a heal in the bank. Jules just has double heal as his spells. The event phase, where we're going to draw a card from this stack of cards that the game told us to assemble before the game, and then we're going to look at a chart. 3 of hearts, 2 giant spiders, 1 in front of points D on the left and F on the right. It said put them on top, but the cocoons are up there. There's not room, so I just sat them in front. Me and my ranger phase, where Dundrick is going to move up the board. I got to get to all that. I got to try to get these points of interest. So he's going to move up the board, and he's going to huck an arrow at this spider. I'm going to reverse that and play my reverse card for the game. I'm going to shoot and then move so that I'm not giving that spider a bonus that I don't want him to have. 2 to a 19. That is a miss. Take shots here from Tobias. Too wobbly. Let's roll in the tray. So that's an 11 plus 3. That's a hit. Over their armor 8, that will kill, and then he will move away. Will here then has a clear shot at this spider. So he's going to take it and then keep rolling up the board. That's a 10, 11, 12 to their 6. Minus their armor 8 is 4 damage. That is exactly enough to kill. Monster phase, our spider friend moves from his bed towards Tobias, as Tobias is the closest model to him. Jules pops his heel as he walks away from Sigvald. Sigvald then double moves, and even on a double move, he's slow and chunky, so he can't quite make it to that bed. Matchroom is going to move on, leave that to Sigvald because it's a strength test. He's better suited for it. The pair of ladies, the two conjurers, move up the field. Doggo continues his path towards Spider. Our event phase, we draw a Spider at point of interest C. Bring it to Ranger phase of turn 3. Dundrick will take a shot at this Spider and then move towards that door. I got a 2, they got a 9. I'm going to use my Hand of Fate, my special heroic ability, to lets me re-roll a dice in the tray. 4 plus 5 is going to beat them, and with armor, it gives me a 9 to their armor 8. So that... Oh wait, I have a 9. They have a 9. That would hit. No. I don't think that hits in shooting. The shooter needs to have a higher score than the defender, so that would not hit. And then he's going to move towards it. Up with Samuel and a shot into that Spider. That will hit. That is a 17, 18, 19, and that'll be plenty enough to do 4 damage and kill. Tobias will then take a shot at the remaining Spider. Oh yeah, that's an 18, 19, 20. That's or 21. Definite dead spot. Towards the left-hand closet door. As there are no monsters, there is no monster phase, so I'm just going to do some moving around. This is where everybody starts. This is where they end. Sigvald ends his movement at this point of interest, so he's going to make that strength test. At +4. That is a 15. That is better than an 8, so let's go read a note. Spoiler, potential spoiler, incoming. Under the bed, Sigvald finds a wooden box with a longbow in it. I can give it to any hero that can use a bow and has space, so Tobias is just going to drop his plain bow for this one. And then I got to make an armory roll. Pass. So I got to look at note 105. 107. Arrows are magic arrows that can deal +2 damage when they hit, and I get 5 XP. So that works out nicely. To the event phase, where we get the red 2. Fighters are placed. I'm going to open with Sigvald because I need to try to deal with one of these spiders before I got to deal with both of them at the same time. So I am -1 fight, however, which puts me to a fight of 4. That's going to hit. So that's 14 over there, 1. So that'll be a dead spider. This door, which is a point of interest B. So let's see what's in there. Roll. Target number 10. Dundrick is +4. Stupid. 2. That's a fail. But again, I can try that one as many times as I want to until I get in. Last activation for my Ranger phase is going to be Tobias, who's going to spin and take a shot at this spider, and then continue moving towards that door. Loose. That's a miss. This spider will move and attack Sigvald. Oh, and he's going to hit me too. So 15 over my armor 3rd. 12 will be 3 damage and will re-poison me. At the end of a combat, the winner can choose whether to step away an inch or stay in contact. Monsters will always choose to stay in contact. The rest of my movement phase or companion phase is just going to be moving people around because I cannot shoot into an ongoing combat. Everybody ends up just kind of flooding towards that northern edge of the board. Let's draw an event card. The black 2. 2 of spades, we get 2 Knoll Fighters. Now the entry says to put them in the middle of a random edge. However, that does not make sense to me when there are only a few points of entry. So technically there are 4 points of entry. There's the 2 stairwells and then the 2 doors. So I just did a D4. One of them comes down these stairs. One of them comes down the ladder. Ranger phase, we're going to take a shot at this knoll with Tobias. Much tougher target than the spiders. That is a 6. That's a 3. It'll hit, but it won't be enough to deal damage. Up to that door, which is a point of interest. So we're going to roll target number 10, lock picking. Nope, that is a fail. He has +4, but that's still a fail. He's going to swing on this spider. And absolutely crush it. He's going to move to get range, and then he manages to get a clear shot on that knoll over there in the left corner. Get +1 because I moved. And that will that'll keep me from hitting him. So the gnolls move in. Now, if I'm reading this correctly, it's only the spiders that are unaffected by the rough ground and all that. So the gnolls would also have the -1 fight penalty because they are gnolls, not spiders. Have Samuel take a shot. That's a hit. Not a great one, but it's a hit. That's 11, 12, 13 over their armor 11, so 2 damage. Your friend is going to move up to this point of interest and see what's going on. Target number 8. She's packing guns. Let's go. Skeletal remains to be found inside. Desdemona will then move up to this one and check it out. That's a 1 on this dice. Yep, so she fails. Don't know what's in there yet. Can get to that point, which should be E, I think. That one is D. He can get to it on a double move, and then we'll see what's in there. Strength 8. In the tray, strength 8. We get it. Okay. We find the desiccated remains of a young Larenthian man who definitely died when the city, or when the nation fell to the Shadow Deep. In his hand is a letter to his wife that never got to send. So he never got to send. So just in case, we're going to stick that in our pocket along with 5 XP. Come back this way. That'll do it for that. For all of my companions. Jules is just going to continue to sit his tail right there where he is. Let's draw an event card. 6 of Hearts. So a large section of webs falls from the ceiling. I'm going to be making a +0 attack on all of the party members. It's -2 damage, but it is poison. So I'm going to roll that up, and I'll let you know how it goes. Took a little bit of damage on most of the people that are poisoned right now. Only took 1 to 3 damage. Jules, however, had the bulk of the webs collapse on top of him. He took 10 damage. He's currently at 1 health. And there's not a lot I can do for him. I'm going to try to get my other conjurer friend over, try to get them linked up to work some magic on each other. Anyways, let's continue. We'll take a shot here. He's going to use his special ability to give him +5 to the shot. Yeah, that's a 20. Plus his shoot of 5, which is 25 over their armor 10. That's enough to just absolutely just ping that gnoll right in the head. That's exactly what I needed. We'll then move back to the door, and we'll try to pick that lock again. Ah, we're into it that time. Click, click, click. Let's see what's in the room. It looks like just a normal linen closet, stuffed with bed linens and things like that. But as we are about to turn and walk away, we see a slight reflection from the light coming from the rest of the room and dig down and find a decanter. Which at first sight we think is what we're looking for, but we realize quickly that it doesn't match the description that we were given. Before tossing it, we do catch a waft of something, and inside find a lot of sweet herbs, along with 10 XP. Who is actually not poisoned right now, will take a shot at this gnoll. And he misses. He's then going to move down the board this way, back towards the exit points. Tobias take a shot at this gnoll. Yeah, the gnoll will get +1 because of the intervening terrain with the corpse cart right there. That's a miss. Please and thank you. This is where the gnoll starts. Sigvald were like the exact same 8.5 inches away from the gnoll, so I did an even or odd, even with Sigvald, and I rolled a 13, which is definitely an odd number. Therefore, the gnoll moves towards Jules. Now we'll finish out my companion phase. I don't know what I'm going to do. Could have tried to make that lock-picking attempt again. And we're in that time. In that closet, I find healing potions. Thank you! Those healing pots end up getting tossed around the room to 1 to Samuel, 1 to Desdemona, and 1 to Tobias. Tobias will keep 1 on his own person. Then we're into the companion phase where Batrep is going to move over to this bed and see what's going on. 8. That's a pass. On a 10. Desiccated remains of an old man with a gold medallion around his neck. We take the medallion, and then I got to make an ancient lore roll. And to my understanding, the person who finds it is the character that has to make the roll. I don't think I can just choose whoever I want to make the roll. Let's see. Oh, bully. And that was probably like some useful information too. Anything, all the non-essential things I pass. And if it's something that could potentially actually help me find this decanter, I'm just at a loss. Oh well, that's the way she goes. It's going to be tough to find this thing. To try to get into hers. Nope, no such luck. Our conjurer friend who's not poisoned can, however, move over and then make that attempt herself. Packing guns. She's freaking stacked. Cocoon is just filled with trash. Bits of metal, belt buckle, a couple buttons. But at least it wasn't full of spiders. We're just kind of shuffling around this middle part of the board a little bit. Jules is moving away from the knoll. The dog and Sigvald are both trying to converge on him. Bringing us to the event phase. The black, or the ace, not the black ace. They're all, because it switches from clubs to spades, so the suit matters. The ace of spades. On that ace of spades, a swarm of stinging insects descends and fills up the room. I have to make a health check, target number 14, for all of my heroes. If they fail, they become diseased. They came out of that just fine, with the exception of the doggo. That poor doggo. We're gonna make sure he finds a good home when we get out of here. Hey, Ranger phase. Going to be a lot of shuffling. So we're going to open up with these two over here. Yeah. We're going to open up with Samuel, who's going to take a shot on the knoll. We're going to start with him because he still potentially is able to move. That's a miss. He's still going to move. Take his shot. He misses, and he is unable to move because of the sits. Dundrick actually has a clean shot. So we're going to take it. I've already used my special +5 thing. I don't have that twice. Okay, let's see. That's a 19. And I do have a special ability called, once per game, I can use an 18, a 19, or a 20 as a crit. We're going to use that right here with that 19 to make it a crit. A crit will give me an extra 5 damage. So that'll take me to 24 off the crit damage, and then 29 off of my regular, just my shoot stat, which will absolutely just right between the eyes, dead null. As there are no monsters, I'm just going to move my companions. This is where we start. Also took Dundrick's movement, which was available to him. Time for an event card. We get the 4 of hearts. That's not the worst. I have to make a strength roll, target number 12 with everybody, or get tangled in the webs and lose my next activation. So let's see how that goes. We got quite a few fails. The dog fails, Samuel fails, Batrep fails, Desdemona fails, and our new conjurer friend fails. There's no monsters on the table, so there won't be a monster phase. There's nothing to shoot at. There's nothing else to explore or examine. So we're going to just be moving everybody towards the exit points. So this is where we're at now. This is where we end. We've got 1 event card, so that means that the game ends after 9 turns, which is there's 8 event cards, so the game ends when you can no longer draw an event card. So after your last card, you have 1 more turn. We got the red 5 is the same as the 4. It will be more strength tests to see if we get to activate. 4 fails this time. Dundrick fails, Dog fails, Desdemona fails, Conjurer fails, and Tobias fails. However, it's the last turn. There's no monsters. I've explored everything there is to explore. It ends at the end of this. So we're just going to go ahead, call it here. Let's get to some wrap up and a little bit of post game, sort out all of that good stuff. Right. So that didn't go too bad. Nobody died, so no death rolls or anything. I managed to get everybody back up to full health between the leftover heal that I had, survival rolls, and burning some of the health potions that I had looted. I gained 47 total experience for my Ranger Dundrick, and then since everybody survived, everybody got 2 progression points. Now, I am not currently awarding progression points to the dog or to the other Conjurer because they're not technically members of my party. They're helping, but they're still civilians. They haven't been inducted yet. So I'm not like leveling them or anything as we go through these scenarios. If I want to keep using them, that would happen like after the fact. But that, my friends, is going to do it for today. That is the hospital for Rangers of Shadow Deep Burning Light. Thanks so much for tuning in, hanging out while I rolled some dice today. I hope you have an absolutely amazing rest of your day. And as always, I'd like to say a big, huge, from the bottom of my heart, thank you to our patrons who support us and pledge to us over on Patreon. You guys are the absolute best. If you enjoyed the content you saw here today and that's something that you would like to consider doing to help out the channel, go over there, check out the link in the description, check out the Patreon. There's a lot of cool stuff over there, including access to our Discord server, talk to me, hang out with me, talk about our work, what we got going on in the hobby, some shout outs, all kinds of cool stuff. Check it out if that's something that you think you would be into. And regardless of whether or not you do that, I want you to know that I am incredibly grateful that you decided to stop by and spend part of your day with me today, rolling dice and pushing toy soldiers around. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and as always, may the dice be ever in your favor.